Okay, great to have the 2025 AFL fixture now launched. Allows all of our fans to plan most of the year through to round 15. There's always three lenses through which we look at the fixture. The first one is obviously the footy lens. From a footy perspective, we're more Saturdays and Sundays, so the evenness of the breaks is a positive thing for us. Certainly through the eyes of our members and our fans, our number one time slot is Saturday night. So probably for them, we're a little bit disappointed. But on the flip side, the Saturday twilights also work really well for us. It's our second favourite fixture. It lends itself to kids and families, much easier for kids and families. We do skew young, and we've seen a lot of growth in that segment over the last couple of years. So we're pleased from that perspective. And then from a commercial lens, we open the season on a Saturday night at the MCG. The Sunday night gather round fixture will be huge from a broadcast perspective, and then we've got a showdown in round 9, which also will be big. So I think through each of those lenses, there's enough for us to like and look forward to.
Can you just elaborate on why those family-friendly time slots are important and why they're a sort of growth spot for the club?
Yeah, I think the 4 o'clock start, the game finishes at 7:30, 8 o'clock, allows people either to head up into the city and grab a meal, or for families that actually the kids aren't getting home as late. So what we have seen over the last couple of years is a real growth in that segment. I think Albion Oval last Sunday here for AFLW is a great example where we're getting a lot more kids and families coming to our games. So from that perspective, that's where we think that twilight time slot works well.
Did you expect more? You mentioned maybe not as many Saturday nights as you'd like, and just the one Thursday night, no Friday games.
Yeah.
15 rounds. Is that disappointing for a team that finished second and played in the freedom?
Yeah, look, I mean, ultimately the fixtures for the AFL, so some of those questions really are for the AFL. I guess, we're a little bit disappointed around the Saturday nights early in the year, but the twilights, we don't think that's, whether that provides opportunity on the other side. And I guess once you get into the Saturday-Sunday rotation, then that continuing to make sure the team's getting a 6 or 7 day break is that works well for us.
Have you got a sense as to why you've been moved off some of those prime time slots?
No, I don't. So again, that would, again, Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide games, number one game day in the AFL, put on an amazing show. We know that our people will always turn up, and I'm sure that will be no different next year. As you said, we've got the Thursday night early in the season in round 3, and then from then on we roll into pretty much a Saturday-Sunday rotation.
I think Koshy was on radio today saying that Port supporters don't really love the Thursday night element. What about the Friday? Is that a slot that you guys do like?
Historically we do. I guess it's, as I said earlier, it's that mix of, the Thursday night is great commercially. It's probably not great from an attendance perspective. A little bit the same on Friday night, and that's why for our members, Saturday night's number 1, and then Saturday twilight is actually number 2, because it works better from an attendance perspective.
What happened to the players? They all love the big stage and the national stage on Friday nights. Do they get disappointed by a lack of opportunity to showcase their stuff in that time slot?
Look, I think if you go through our fixture, we've got Collingwood on a Saturday night. We're closing Gather Round. We've got a showdown on a Saturday night. There's enough big games that we're going to be involved in through the year. So, and of course we're only dealing at the moment with the first 15 rounds, and I guess that's absolutely the opportunity with the floating fixture is, if we perform and we're performing well, then there's the opportunity in the back part of the year to be able to perhaps get some of those games into our fixture.
So, in general, pretty happy then? Is it fair?
Yeah, look, in generally, as I said, look through it from the 3 lenses. Yes, we would have liked maybe a Friday night and a Saturday night, but on the flip side, the Saturday twilights will work well for us. We've got some big games commercially, and there's enough from all of those lenses to be positive about.
What were your thoughts on the Hawthorn closing Gather Round as opposed to your standard Friday night slot?
Yeah, look, I think part of that, and that's part of the challenge for this year, is with the change in the broadcast arrangements. Clearly, that Sunday twilight or night is a big commercial fixture, and we're trying that, so we understand that. And look, the Port Adelaide Hawthorn makes sense. You've got two, I would say, emerging teams that played two cracking games last year, and from a footy perspective, it should be a great game. So from that perspective, it also makes sense.
Ken got fined, I think, $20,000 of conduct unbecoming. Are you expect, and for obviously the post-game remarks, are you expecting that to be part of the build-up to the game and the league to leverage that?
No, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, to be honest, I haven't actually thought about it since Sunday the 15th of September, and then we just moved on. But yeah, as I said, really it comes down to you got two emerging teams that hopefully going to play great games, and that's the cornerstone of what the rivalry is about. Nothing else.
Were you a little bit surprised that you got 3 trips to, I guess, boutique stadiums? Again, those sort of trips, fixtures tend to be, I think, reserved for teams that perhaps finish a little bit lower down the ladder. You've got Canberra, you've got Ballarat and Lonnie.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're a non-Victorian team, so we travel every second week. So, where we go in some ways doesn't really matter. Some of those places we haven't actually been for a number of years. So, yeah, the way it looks at the moment is we're sort of knocking them all off in 1 year. But, yeah, the reality for us is we're an interstate team. Travelling is important. Our team does travel really well. We always look forward to getting away together as a group, especially with a young group. And, our record on the road has been good over the last few years, and we look forward to that continuing next year.
As a club, you've been big on trying to level the playing field across the national reserves comp. How balanced can a national competition truly be if you have a team like Collingwood that only travels 6 times in a season?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the challenges with the AFL fixture, and the reason it's called an AFL fixture. You're trying to balance, as I've said a couple of times, you're trying to balance the objectives through broadcast and audience. You're trying to balance the needs of fans, and then you're also trying to, adjust to, cater for travel. And you've got the example this year with the 2 Western Australian clubs travelling 1 less game, which makes sense given the amount of travel they do. So that is one of the great challenges with the AFL fixture. It's going to be very difficult to be able to create an even competition because of all of those different factors.
From a high performance or from a performance point of view, would you like to see that ironed out in the future? Whether that's maybe an extra home game in Adelaide, like the WA team to get?
Well, I'm quite sure that if we were proposing that, given we've already got gather round, and there are a few people that seem to be upset whenever they come up against Adelaide or Port Adelaide in gather round, I'm not sure we would get too good a hearing. So we're very happy with gather round in South Australia, and like I said earlier, we travel really well. We enjoy getting away, and we'll look forward to that again in 2025.
In terms of big ways to start the season, Collingwood at the MCG, pretty big clash obviously with Dan's history as well.
Yeah, great way to start the year. Our people always love going to the MCG. It'll be a big game, and already I'm sure everyone's really looking forward to it.
Bit of love for Dan, do you think? How will he be received?
Look, I mean, Dan's been a fantastic player for our club for a long time, and we wish him all the best. But by the time we get to round 1 next year, it'll be a new season. It'll be about us getting away to a really good start. And I don't think we'll be worrying too much about Dan. It'll be about what we're doing.
How tough is that fixture? Crows, Collingwood, Freo, Geelong, Hawthorn, Sydney, all teams that would fancy themselves as final contenders. They're your double ups. How tough is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we finished third. The reality is that I think at the start of last year we were judged as having the toughest fixture, and then by about round 18, apparently we had one of the easiest fixtures. So I don't get too worked up trying to determine who's got a hard fixture and who hasn't. The reality is it's a really even competition. You've got to play your double up teams, and that'll be. We'll look forward to all of those games.
Can I just ask about AFLW, Richard? Obviously a huge week for the club as the girls are heading over to Melbourne to play in that semi-final. What's the vibe, and how proud are you of that group?
Yeah, I know how hard the group has worked. It hasn't just been 1 year in the making, it's been 3 years in the making. Alberton Oval last Sunday, 5,500 people. I think, we're close to number 1 or number 2 in the AFL for home games. And just the improvement in the group, they've gone from 1 win to 2 wins to 7 on the trot. shooting for 8. They're not getting ahead of themselves. They're just they're a young group who are really excited and got a great opportunity this week, ironically against Hawthorn. So we're really looking forward to it. But very proud of the group, and there are no limits. I know they're putting no limits on themselves and not letting themselves get past what this week is. But it's just great seeing them play and the energy that they're bringing.